Hey all, Sean here, back again with another edition of Game On Cards and Collectibles. I have a fun PSA reveal today of some non-sports cards that I'll be sharing with you guys. I have an 18 card order that I sent in with their bulk service, and not really expecting anything too crazy here. Not really expecting any gems by any means. These are some cards that I have had on a previous video. If you've had an opportunity to check out one of my previous videos, I did a Impel Mega Metal music card, rock card, heavy metal, I guess you would say, box rip. And then I also had a non-sport blaster box that I did a rip on that I sent in a couple cards from that as well. I sent these cards in mainly for fun, just because I thought they were cool and they would be would they be a PSA low pop. Hardly any of these cards have been graded before, so I thought I'd send them in and see what kind of grades we can get. I'm not expecting any gems. If I get 9s, I'm going to consider that, basically the top. And hardly, I'm not expecting a lot of those either. Probably a lot of 7s and 8s in this batch. But again, low pop, and for the right collector, I think they could be something of value. So first off here, we have a 2010 Panini Centuries. This actually I pulled back to over 10 years ago from a pack. This is a Clark Gable, Katharine Hepburn worn material, which is really cool. I had sent in a similar card before that got an 8. And this one actually gets a 9. Wow, that's actually a big win. That's a victory for sure. Looks really nice, and back when Panini and card companies, manufacturers actually put worn relics in the product, which now they do a lot of event worn or non-specific. So this is a big victory. I'm really excited about that. This is a Garfield card from the Garfield set, card number 1, and this was pulled on that video that I did with a non-sport blaster. I thought this one looked pretty good. A lot of Garfield and Friends fans out there, so I thought we'd send this one in and see what we can get. Oh wow, it comes back at 10. That is awesome. That's a really nice looking card. 2004 Pacific. Again, this was pulled from the non-sport blaster box rip that I did a few months back. So that is great to see. We're off to a good start here. Didn't anticipate any 10s, and I've got one already, so that's great to see. We have a Street Fighter Guile character that was played by Jean-Claude Van Damme in the movie. Thought this card looked pretty good. There's a lot of fans of him out there, including myself. Even though the movie flopped really badly, and ooh, it comes back a 7. Okay, well, that's PSA for you. Right when they give you a great card, you just bring you back to reality. So I really didn't see any particular issues. Maybe the surface is worse off than I thought with some of these older cards. Maybe the registration on them. I really don't know. The corners are good. It's hard to tell what the centering is on these, so maybe that has something to do with it. But anyway, all right, up to the next one here. This is an Albus Dumbledore card from the Harry Potter series that they gave in like candy packs. It was like Jelly Belly, I think, or something like that. It's kind of a cool hologram card, and I know the centering's off. You can just tell by the back left to right, so I'm not expecting a good grade on this one. Oh wow, still got a 9 though. That's actually pretty good. All right. I think that, and ooh, wow, look at the way he looks at you. It's kind of creepy. But yeah, excellent. I'm glad to see that it's still got a 9 considering it. It's a pretty cool card. And of course, a lot of Harry Potter fans. And, that card should command a little bit of a demand on the market. Next up, we have from the movie The Flintstones, which was kind of a flop too. We have a card with the B-52s were in the movie, and this is a card of them. I thought that was kind of an interesting card. I know there's probably like next to none of these have ever been graded. It didn't look particularly great, and PSA confirmed it with a 7. So It says A Night on the Town. Again, it says from the movie The Flintstones, 1993, tops. Again, just B-52s were a really big band in the late 80s. I don't know, thought it would be kind of cool to send that card in. Now I'm wondering if it was a very good idea. All right, now we're getting into the good stuff. Here we have a 1991 Impel from the box rip that I did. This is the Iron Maiden, one of the album covers. This is the Seventh Son. These will be very difficult to get good grades on them. There really hasn't been many graded. And it's still got a 9. Excellent. That is basically a 10 to me. There's not a lot of these graded, like I mentioned. Even the ones that do not have very good grades. So just to have really amazing artwork originally on the album covers, and then they obviously took that and put them on trading cards. So really cool. And then next up we have another Iron Maiden. This is made in Japan from one of their other album covers. I know there's some white chipping on a lot of these, so I'm just hoping for, really expecting 8s, hoping for a 9. And this one gets a 7, so I was definitely expecting some of that in this, so no surprise there. Although I don't see a lot of differences between these two cards as far as the centering, the edges, the corners, the surface. They all looked pretty much the same, so to get a 2-grade difference, they must have saw something that I didn't. But even with that being said, hardly any of these have been graded, and it's just great to have some of this nice artwork in a trading card and slabbed up with a grade. Next we have the Iron Maiden Peace of Mind. Again, I only sent in a few of these cards that I felt that were grade worthy. Most of them didn't fit the bill, but and this one gets an 8. Okay, that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting several 8s. Maybe we'll sprinkle in some 9s. Really nice looking card though overall. Looks great in the slab. And yeah, should have a few more of these. It's one of the few submission reveals that I'm actually kind of excited about 9s. So next up we have a Iron Maiden album cover from Power Slave, another one of their album and artwork covers. And this one comes back a 9. That's awesome. Any 9s I get on this is fantastic, because there are hardly any. And yeah, again, I was very surprised. If you want to check out the video, if you haven't already, on the box reveal, I was really surprised how well these cards came out of the box, considering they're over 30 years old now. Next up, Iron Maiden, again, another artwork. It's from the album Number of the Beast. You can see the corner chipping on this one, so I'm not going to be too excited probably about the grade on this guy, but let's see. Okay, 8. Regardless of the grade, this card still looks amazing. It's just, wow. I'm in really awe of how sharp these cards came out of the package from that era and how dark these cards are. All right, so up next we have, it's a Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi, card number 4. There's several Bon Jovis in this set, but I thought this one looked good enough to send in. And it comes back an 8. So again, on par for what I expect most of these cards to get. I thought, considering this, this was well centered, I only sent in the top of the top as far as condition goes. All right, up next we have Iron Maiden's debut self-titled album, Iron Maiden, and this one comes back a 7. Ooh, yeah, I feel like Eddie in the picture right now, seeing that grade. Now again, not too big of a deal on that. I'm expecting some 7s in this. Not too surprised. Ideally, I'd love to have every single album cover, regardless of the grade. So, all right, so moving on, we have another Iron Maiden album cover. This is from their album Killers, and Thought this one looked sharp as well, at least sharp in comparison to others. And this one comes back a 9. That's great. That is a gem to me. So really nice to see that one. Really sharp looking card, well centered. Very little edge issues on these, which seems to be very common from this set. Next up, this one I'm hoping for a higher grade on. This is the Rob Halford from Judas Priest, card number 61. Look pretty good, and it comes back an 8. All right, well, would have loved to see a 9 in that one, but I'm okay with an 8. That's fine. Still very low pop. Ronnie James Dio, card number 17 from this set. Another one I'm hoping to get a higher grade on. Hopefully, yes, a 9. All right, I'm excited about that one. I'd say this set is actually turning out pretty well considering my expectations initially when I sent this in. So very cool. Glad to have that one as well. And I've got a couple others that I may also send in. I would love to have duplicates on hand so I can keep one for my personal collection and maybe sell one to make up some of these grading fees. Next up, we have a Robert Plant, card number 50. Obviously a rock legend, one of the greatest GOATs, if you will, with Led Zeppelin. And it comes back a 9. That's great. I'm super excited about that one as well. Not one of the best photos. It's kind of shadowy and dark on a dark card, so not particularly one of the most intriguing representations of Robert Plant necessarily, but it's a Robert Plant, so gotta like that. Next up, we have a John Bon Jovi, another one of his cards. This is card number 7, and also thought this one looked pretty clean. Oh my gosh, I got a gem. I did not expect to get a 10 on any of these cards, and now we've got a Garfield and a Bon Jovi. That's awesome. Obviously, from a different era, but he was the guy. Love it or hate it, you can't deny the popularity back in the day. So that's super cool to have a 10 on that. And then to finish up and round out the order, we have another Robert Plant, card number 43. And this one comes back an 8. So it would have been nice to end on the video on a 10, but wow, that's overall I was very pleased with this order. I've got some really cool cards, some unique cards that aren't necessarily rare. There's just not many graded. And for the right buyer, I should have some leverage because there's a very low pop count on these. I'd also be fine just keeping them in my own PC collection. Very pleased overall with 2 10s, several 9s, and just a great submission overall. Thanks everybody for joining me today. Appreciate you spending some time, and I hope to see you again real soon. Take care, everybody.